Welcome to Dynamo's Dozen, the podcast that I bring you each and every single week where I talk about whatever may be on my mind from pro wrestling, sports, entertainment, music, movies, muesli, fresh socks and jocks, and everything in between. Never forgetting that sweet white powder that is talc. Johnson's, baby. Here we are. I am your host, Ian Dynamo Kelly. I am joined today by two of my fellow podmen, Mr. Jason Kennedy, the Road Dog.
Oh, it's been a while since I held, and it's good to be back.
And of course, my man, Joe the Beef Duignan.
Good to be here, pal. Always a pleasure.
Welcome to the show, boys. Obviously, earlier in the week, we did a review of All Out, AEW's All Out, which was pretty much the game changer in the world of professional wrestling. I think everybody has established that now. That is just a fact at this point. What we decided what we would do today is talk a little bit about maybe not necessarily the matches because we've covered that, but we will talk about the WWE side of things and what it does for professional wrestling in general. You know what I mean? And kind of maybe look at,
a loose chat on projection going forward.
Exactly. And I think the only way to start is, boom, CM Punk was back. We know that. We knew Daniel Bryan was coming. We just didn't know how effectful or impactful it was going to be. We also were pretty much 95% sure that Adam Cole was going to be on the way. But we got both in one night. So we had CM Punk in a match with Darby Allin, which was, arguably, some people think it was match of the night. I'm not going to argue with those people that do think it was. I think the main event personally was match of the night for me. But good Lord. It's a great time to be a professional wrestling fan again, isn't it, guys?
It's exciting.
You got Chris Cage coming out in the Impact belt, and now I want to watch Impact. I want to watch everything. You know what I mean? I want to watch absolutely everything. Joe, we'll start with you. Did you foresee this coming?
No, I did not. I said during our review about Adam Cole coming over, because WWE fought so hard to try and keep him.
Yeah.
And if they were having last minute meetings with him and stuff like that, and he still went. But look, you look at how WWE have treated a lot of guys that quote unquote come up from NXT, and you can't blame a guy for getting the hell out of there. And and now that they're rebranding NXT, and apparently Vinnie Mac is going to be overseeing it, you can't. It's a guy called looking at that and going, "There's no place for me in this big, this big man thing."
Yeah.
With McMahon there, because you even look at some of the big guys that they did drop the ball with, like EC3. Everyone said he was a Vince McMahon guy. Looked $1 million, could talk, could wrestle. And he spent his entire time on the quote-unquote main roster, holding a plastic red cup in his hand in backstage segments. So it's a bit, ridiculous. And then they get more recent, Karrion Kross getting buried on his first night on the main roster. And another guy that you'd look at and say, he's absolutely a Vince McMahon guy. He's huge. He's an absolute animal. And then they stick this and stuff, and you're just like, what are you doing? And guys like Cole must be going, if those big men are getting overlooked, what fucking hope do I have? So they're just getting out of there, or they're going to a company where they'll be valued.
And they have a say, I guess, and that's something that we've kind of noticed. You know what I mean? They have a say in their craft, and the one thing that I've looked at after this weekend that's just passed is look at the joy in people like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan's face. You know what I mean? They just look happy. They're happy to be a part of professional wrestling, and that's it's fun. We understand that these guys make a living out of it, and that's absolutely fine, and they make a lot of money out of it. You know, the top guys make a lot of money out of it, but it's fun again. It should be fun.
I think there's something in that as well. I think the lifers are willing to take a pay cut to enjoy what they do because they understand that investing in their own brand over a lifetime means that when and if they do return to that company, they bring the name they earned elsewhere and add a couple of zeros to their paycheck. Whereas people who just want to be famous stick around to be treated like shit for 10 years before they get the belt around them. Like, I think, personally, I think the carrying cross treatment probably tilted the switch on Cole's decision. I mean, we know he was a viable hot commodity we speak of rare calico in this business. When your contract is up and they still need you, you're literally the one holding the dick. You know what I mean? And he's a lifer. Like Pac, we also said Pac packed his bags literally and walked out and just did that. Because he knows in 25 years' time, he'll still be hitting the ropes and he'll still be coming off the top turnbuckle. He's a fucking lifer. Whereas people who just want to be famous stick around and wait their turn. And that is the difference. You've got the lifer or the inner for the celebrity. And that seems to be a division now because there's two places to work. And like I was saying earlier, I think the carrying cross treatment pushed Adam Cole into his decision, not the zeros on the fucking paycheck or the promises. It was like, look, I'm here for the next 20 years and you're not here for me right now. See ya.
Yeah, like Adam Cole, when I heard him talking after the fact, he was like, I'm 32, which is not an old age, you know what I mean? It's only
it's peak. 4
years younger than me, basically. It's like
he's only 2 years older than me.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of like he's at peak and wants to be at that level. And I think, right, I suppose what I really want to talk about today, boys, is something that we've kind of almost been teasing for a long time. I always credit information that we get from other sources on these shows, you know, without kind of breaking the bank. But basically, the great Brian Last, of course, from your boy Jay,
probably the best co-host in the business, the most honest one.
Well, he basically said that he's kind of been calling for a long time as well about Nick Khan. And I mean, when you look at the quotes of Nick Khan basically talking openly and honest about it, saying, yeah, if someone wants to call us about an offer to buy the company, we will answer the phone call and we will talk. This is very, very strange times. Joe, I want to bring you in on this. This is very, very strange times. Do you think WWE are downgrading in the sense that they're trying to just keep the name value of this to try and sell it? Because it just keeps creeping up. It just keeps creeping up. And I mean, Triple H, a man who was like, I've said it, the epitome of professional wrestling in what he's done.
Took you a while to say it though.
No, but in what he's done. No, but in what he's done recently for,
I agree with you, man.
With NXT and stuff, and it's 100%. And you are right, Jay, of course. And I said it the other day on the Daphne podcast. Sometimes I like the kayfabe better than anybody. I know Triple H is fucking awesome, but now he's just basically been shunned. It's Vince and Bruce. Joe.
About the selling of the company, it's coming up so often. You kind of say to yourself, it must be something they're seriously considering. And as you said, they're jettisoning a lot of people, and to make the books look that little bit better as well. So I'd be very surprised if they don't sell up at some stage. I hope they don't, because like yourself,
Me too.
I'd hate to see a non-wrestling crowd come in and start acting the bollocks with it, and possibly even tearing it apart and selling off bits of it here and there and everywhere.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster like at Disneyland, you know.
Yeah, I'd hate to see that. Then again, it could be a good thing, but I doubt it. I can see some someone like Fox or something. You know, I'm only picking a company out of the thin air.
yeah.
But like
Disney.
something like a
Let's
Fox,
face it.
Disney. It's always
Disney.
it's going to be
Disney,
Disney.
so someone like that comes in, buys it, tries to turn it into a different kind of form of entertainment. They don't understand wrestling, and they start filling it with people that know nothing about it. Although in fairness, WWE have been doing a good job of that too themselves, to be fair. Bringing in all these people that know nothing about wrestling, like to fill in big roles. So that's what I'd be afraid of, is that a company come in and just kind of go, oh, look, we know how to run entertainment. We can run this and make complete and utter shit of it. But
we've spoke about this before, haven't we?
Jay, I was actually going to bring you in on this. I'm going to ask you this question because you're the man that I want to answer this. Like, it's so strange when we talk about it, right? Because we are all lifers here in terms of loving this business. We have been, you know, out beyond the camera and fucking in front of the camera. But one of the things that I particularly find very, very strange is that WWE had the monopoly for so long. And we always said there's never going to be a situation. And this is why that whole saying of never say never it's the most apparent thing right now. We never thought, to be fair, that there was going to be another company that could maybe even have a lick of the WWE.
Still isn't yet.
It still isn't, but to be honest with you, it is. You know, for the real wrestling fan, it is. Like it's real now. It's real now, and I think WWE know that, and I think Vince knows that. It's not in terms of financially. Forget about the financials and stuff like that, you know, and the conglomerate and the global, you know, phenom that WWE is. Forget about that. But when you look at WWE now and you look at AEW, and they've kind of found that niche audience again, it's the Southern Territory, you know, that's come up to say hello.
We're still here.
Yeah. And talk to me a bit about that, Jay.
I'm going to leave it with one sentence. There is no profit in comfort when you're the only show in town and you have to hire everybody. I mean, who have they really cut over the last few years that is detrimental to them as a business structure? I mean, granted, there's a few jewels in the ship pile, and we spoke about this again. I always speak about the WWE being almost a conduit for professional wrestling, bringing men in, grooming and women, bringing people in, grooming them for a life in what they've chose, and then releasing them, setting them free. Where do they go? They go to other companies. What do other companies do? They benefit. They benefit from having people who have a stage show professionality, a structure, an understanding, and a concept of this business handed down to them from a company who has been the fucking daddy, the big dick on the table for the last 40 years. A company that's terraformed the industry and regardless of what GM thinks, dragged it out of petering out to make it something we're still talking about 40 years later.
Sports entertainment, yeah.
What and this is what we're trying to compare one to the other. It's like the old McDonald's Burger King fucking argument. They have stated many times, and they can't state it enough, and they can't shout it and declare it enough. We're not a wrestling company anymore. We're a sports entertainment company who happens to produce, manufacture, and release pro wrestlers. Now, every market in the world.
But that's bollocks, though. That is absolute bollocks what they say, because what they sell is pro wrestling. Yeah, this buffoon.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
This buffoon, and I'm going to say it again, that literally made his money out of pro wrestling and off the blood of pro wrestling and off the back of the fact that he sold his own father out, by the way, which is a true story. Am I wrong?
His father left him in a place where he was unhappy when he was young. We did that. We very early segue back to an old 3-parter on Vinnie Mac that we did a year ago on
that's
Spotify. Listen to it. There's some interesting commentary on there. And honest, before we were more guarded about how we spoke.
That is fair.
But
realistically, Jay, for you,
realistically, like, What he's doing is manipulating the stock market to perpetuate cash into his company to inflate his own wealth. He's looking at numbers now, not at pro wrestling, and whatever he can do to make the numbers that he has as a personal asset exponentially grow to the point where he has president money. Like, Vinnie Mac is beyond rich off what he has done. To see him sitting there on the balcony drinking a fucking Kool-Aid, rocking his hair, going, "Remember that time Hulk Hogan was everything?" No.
So
He's done this.
that's a great segue then. Do you think that Vince has actually lost the passion for this? It's like, look, I've actually made this to be the most successful thing that it could possibly ever be. And
Yeah,
I'm willing.
I've made it global.
Yeah, and I'm willing to just let it fucking, put
Let
it
me put it
in
this
somebody
way.
else's hands.
Let me, from a psychological perspective, away from the wrestling situation, let me ask you this. A man who has been as keen a businessman over as long a time in his own industry to the point where he bought up and owns the whole fucking sport. And I call it sport because it is.
Yeah.
He wants one of his grandchildren to sit in the White House. And you don't get to there by selling your golden ticket. He has a money machine and he could sell it for a set amount of dollars. And then just sit down and go, "I made my money, now it's time to get into the grave." He wants legacy. He wants his children never have to, and his grandchildren to never have to experience the youth that he had personally.
But he
He's
has that
selling
now.
nothing. Yeah, but it's never enough. It's become a numbers game. He's not looking for fucking, like, he's gone from a guy who made his money off selling tickets to the likes of us three to see men pretend to bash each other for 3 hours to the point where his wife was part of a governmental structure. He's bought legitimacy through his endeavors from nothing to everything in one lifespan. And for anybody to believe that he is doing anything less than, one, making the most money off his product, and two, manipulating stock market to continue to do that, is folly. I mean, he's Vince McMahon. You just don't take away what he was 40 years ago and replace it with, "Well, now I've made enough money and it's time to relax and enjoy my twilight years." That's not in him. It's the reason he still storms into that building, rips up scripts and says, "You better start doing something better or I'm going to stop taking time off." And he wouldn't be talking
But it's
about
also
building a bricks
the
and
reason
mortar.
that their product sucks as well.
It sucks right now because it has been uncontested for 20 years. Now there's competition on the table. He's not worried about them. He doesn't give a fuck. He's worried about his own business, which is the only way you survive. You can't worry about what the other person's going to do. Down that road leads paranoia, and he's never been particularly paranoid. He's a man who bought his own competition 20 years ago, gave it to his son for a night before he destroyed and decimated every vestige of it. Like, you got to take into account the person that the man is, his ego. He won't
Not a
stop
good
until,
one. Not a good one.
for better or worse, it's him. I'm not sitting here pontificating on whether or not Vinnie Mac is getting into heaven or hell. He doesn't give a fuck about what I think. What he gives a fuck is about what makes him successful, perpetually, continually, and he won't go to that grave of failure. And that's just built into him. It's the reason WWE is.
Do you consider him selling WWE as a failure to it?
Letting go of what he built, yeah, I do. I think his end game is the legitimizing of his legacy and his family, his kids and his grandkids, and their grandkids and their grandkids. And if you've got something as profitable as what he has built over 40 years, why would you sell it for a set pillar to post amount when it's a golden ticket that could continue to perpetuate wealth?
Yeah, but I could personally, what I think will happen, Jay, is he'll sell it, but he'll keep like, a small share of it. So
59 or 51.49.
No, I think it'll be even smaller than that. Because I think for him, like you're saying that he wants to get someone of his family into the White House. I think for someone to actually succeed at that, they'll have to distance themselves from pro wrestling, or it'll just be seen as a bit of a joke.
But he's
so I can see them, like, him selling like 80% of it or whatever and keeping like 20. So they're still making a lot of money off it, but they have that distance away from it there. So they're not, their whole thing, their whole personality isn't associated with it.
Like, do you personally see, like, I mean, again, the grandest ambition of all in business when you've come from dirt is to be gold. And in that country, as a mind state, success in capitalism is the crown that you wear. And the only crown in that country, arguably, is one of your family members sitting in the Oval Office. Do you get where I'm coming from with that?
You know, no, what I'm saying is for one of his family to get there, they'll have to distance themselves from pro wrestling. And I think that's what he's planning to do, like, is it, so that they're not completely wrapped up in all that's going on in it.
Traditionally speaking, I would absolutely 100% what you said, I'd bet on it. But Trump is sat in that chair, so
and will again.
Trump, I doubt it. But
ahead of Biden, anyway. Just saying.
The old trope of conservative legitimacy.
Oh yeah, Biden's doing a great job. Sorry.
And yeah, listen, this is neither here nor there. This is neither here nor there. That's a win.
Thought I'd throw that in for the socialism.
And I'm throwing it back out. It's a Royal Rumble, baby, and it just got fucked out.
Oh yeah,
over the top rope. But no, look. I'd love to agree, and I can see the sense in what's being spoke, but from a fiscal and a personal perspective, I can't see him selling what he's built for so long. I see him having trouble trusting people around him to do it. I mean, he took his finger off and his foot off the gas there a while ago, and it was supposed to be, look, there's Shane, there's Steph, there's H. It's in good hands. You two boys go down to the next.
But H was doing a perfect job.
You know what I wished had happened to end all of this talk is if they'd have built NXT up to a point and sold that as a separate viable wrestling product to somebody willing to invest in something that's already built and made.
I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna come in on this now because, and everything you're saying is 100% correct. But let's not make this like about Vince is such a great guy and he's just so good.
I didn't.
He's an absolute buffoon. He literally built NXT to the most viable wrestling option that WWE had.
Yes, and it was strong for a long while, and it was a very good
because
product.
Vince didn't have a hand in it, he just cut it out. And now it's going to be him and Bruce Pritchard.
We hate
Bruce
Pritchard.
He literally must like that. Kiss my ass.
I wish he'd die.
Well, you know, that kiss my ass club is so like apparent. It's like that's what Vince wants people to tickle his balls, lick his arse. He's an absolute buffoon, and that's why these people are leaving, and it's going to continue to happen.
And you know what, they can let them.
Yeah, look, I'm no like, as you know, Ian, I haven't watched WWE properly in a few years. Like when they kept shoving Roman Reigns down our throats as the next big thing. He is now, finally. Like, but
in a different way, though. In a different way.
In a different way, yeah. Oh, he's amazing. And but no, for a long time he was being shoved down our throats. When everyone rejected him, you know what I mean? It was just like, stop doing this
all day long.
Yeah, exactly. They even brought The Rock out to try and get him over. It was clutching at straws. It was fucking awful. And then, as I said, the straw that broke the camel's back for me was when Bobby Lashley came back with all this big pomp and ceremony, and everyone wanted to see Lashley Lesnar, and they still went with fucking Roman, and I went, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah, but Lashley Lesnar's coming. We know this. It's inevitable.
I hope so.
It is. It just
that could turn into a shoot. And but where was
who's your money on with that? By the way,
pardon?
Who's your money on with that?
Oh Jesus, I don't know. I'd
love
to see
always Brock. Come on.
I don't know.
I see Bobby going over.
Lashley's an animal, man.
No, yeah, I mean in a legit fight. I think Brock. Come on, you're talking about a UFC.
No, yeah, but you're talking about a man who has MMA pedigree as well. Yeah, he's
True.
like, I watched all of Bobby's fights. He's not bad. I mean, he bought an MMA promotion himself. He bought an own Shark for a while there, which if you look into it, when he was doing this thing on the circuit, I think he realized that it's very real and it might take time off my life. And I really do miss pro wrestling. And I'm glad he did, because pro wrestling is Bobby's suit. And we've seen this. This is the Bobby we have now is the Bobby we should have had 10 years ago, but nobody had faith in him. But they fucked him out of the cast. He went off. He earned his own merits. He did what he had to. And he's come back a fucking superstar. Like,
You didn't see him on TNA, Jay. He was unreal there too. But I can't remember what the point was I was trying to make.
Segues tonight.
Other than I should have written it down. Damn.
No, Bobby versus Brock is inevitably going to happen. And I hope so. I tune in to watch that and I pay to watch it, because that is something I'd love to see. Man, give me 1 second. Bob's just after walking into the room. Your screaming disrupted our conversation, you bitch.
Sorry.
He's apologized. Forgive me. Continue.
But yeah, look, I'm with Ian. I think Vince McMahon has gone off the rails the past few years, and I think he's very much like he tells all his creative to to up their game and all that. But every time they bring anything to him, it seems he just loses the run of himself and throws it out. And I think one of you lads made the point where he didn't build NXT; it wasn't his thing. So he's like, "Fuck it, I'm turning it up and throwing it out." And I think that's what he does when he walks backstage at Raw or SmackDown. He just goes, "Oh, this is a good idea, but I didn't come up with it. Fuck off. It's all shit."
Yeah.
And start again. I think
he's an egotistical person. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ian. I think a lot to do with his ego, and it's hurting the brand in the longer run.
The thing about it is, like, regardless of what people want to say, the only thing that killed WCW was the network. It was Turner Broadcast, and it was all that. Like, it's easy to say Vince won the war, and like Stone Cold won the war for him. Well, we know now what we know. Russo and all went over there, and it was like literally, it was like trying to pull life into something that just cannot live again. You know what I mean? It was a dying,
ripping a dead horse.
Exactly.
Axl Rose.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. So it's easy for Vince to say he got victory over that. Not really. It was on the way out anyway, and you just happened to buy it for the price that you bought it. You know,
didn't hurt that he sent Hulk over there, which was lovely. That's a cancer that'll kill a company.
Well, no, because that was part of pro wrestling, regardless of whether you like it or not. It's
what does that mean?
In fairness, Jay, like Hulk Hogan's heel turn nearly won that war.
Yeah,
so I think you might be talking.
You know what? No, I'm not talking arse. A one night pop is not worth a 10-year ego.
It's not a one night pop. It was a whole fucking
Hollywood Hogan, unreal.
It was a whole few year pop.
It's the only vestige of Hogan I enjoyed, man. But the truth still remains: when you bloat a company with wages and wage bills that the company can't hold and float, sooner or later it's sink or swim.
But as Jim Cornette said, Jay, Vince McMahon's idea of pro wrestling is an Ultimate Warrior. And a Ric Flair is not. But the difference is
he doesn't want to be a pro wrestling company, Ian. He doesn't want that.
But guess what? It is a pro wrestling company.
Big Mac and Burger King.
But it is a pro wrestling company. It's like going in and saying you're not fast food, but you're selling fast food. But no, we're Michelin star. What are you talking about?
It's the only pro wrestling company in town that's made the money and revenue that he's earned.
No, it's made the money and revenue, but it's also
because he's turned it into something else. Look, I'm not arguing with you. I've seen better wrestling on AEW this week than I have in a long time. Well, with the exception of a few outliers and outstanding matches. But the other side of that coin is jettisoning all the dead away from the company that I love. And long-term investing in storytelling with wrestlers who can fucking go, means I'm going to get a more streamlined product suited to me. And in this war, a few things are happening.
Well, all right. That's a good point. We're gonna go on to another topic now, straight away, because we've talked about it here before. Finn Balor, very, very important topic at the moment. Had a main event match with Roman Reigns the other week. Looked like he was driving him again. Only lost to Reigns cheating, and boom, boom. Tease of the demon. The red lights went, and Roman looks around like that. Do you think, this is the question I'm going to put to both of you. I'll start with you, Joe. Do you think that this is a case where, because obviously this is Vince's call,
Goosebumps.
do you think that he's looked at that and went, right, I'm not willing to let this lad go?
I think if McMahon doesn't go with Balor, and really gets behind him, I think he could see a mass exodus that he's not looking to have. He'll end up losing guys that he doesn't want to lose, because I think a lot of people will look and go, Balor is, red hot
and top professional as well behind the scenes.
And the crowd are baying for him to be the next big thing. And I think if he gets this wrong, I think there'll be a lot of people backstage going, what fucking hope do I have if one of, if not the best wrestler in the world, isn't getting backed by this guy? Like, I need to get the fuck out of here. And there's the thing is, there are a few options now, because if you go to Impact, say, or NWA, there's that affiliation now with AEW and New Japan, and they're all working together. So for you to end up in any of them, there's the potential to work in that kind of environment. And I think an awful lot of them will go, yeah, I need to get the hell out of here, and and go somewhere else where my talents will actually be appreciated.
What do you reckon, Jay?
I reckon for a very exciting fucking year. I reckon they know what they have. I reckon they don't care about what they've lost. And I reckon AEW is going to dictate the course WWE goes. I think the focus is the main program. I don't believe for 1 second they ever misunderstood what they had in Balor. I've been saying this for fucking near a year and a half. He wasn't relegated or sent down to.
Well, Vince did. Vince did.
They couldn't wait to throw a strap on him when he came in. Now, it wasn't a perfect run for him. It was a little bit. He got a bit injured. But when he went down there to NXT, did he not legitimize that whole fucking card? Every time he made an appearance, did it not feel real? He's been fighting his guts out down there, legitimizing men who could probably go off now and make a hell of a lot more money off the fact that they've had Balor matches in other companies and federations. But what's coming?
Yeah, but you say that, Jay, and Karrion Kross bet him into a pulp and then got beaten on his first night in Raw.
I don't care about Karrion Kross.
But you're saying these guys can go on after what they've done with Balor and go on to great things. It's not the case. Like, it would be if they got inside of WWE.
Yeah, but he just wants you to eat shit for 3 or 4 years before he invests heavily in you as a product.
But your first night on the main roster to bury someone that ruined a guy that's about to go and quite possibly win the title.
Yeah, but he sees NXT as a different company. When you come up to his product, you're nothing. You start at the bottom and work your way up again. And that takes 3 to 4 years. You don't get to be an overnight success off the back of
not anymore. Because you can just leave.
Well, you can if you want. The door is always open. Nobody's forced to wrestle. I mean, they'll sit you on the bench for 3 months. And if you're unhappy, leave. But if you're not and you're willing to plug away.
I think that's bollocks as well. Honestly, I think the whole idea and the whole, Vince just has this idea, eat shit for, because that's the way he is, eat shit and do that because he's a bully. Like, that's obviously quite clearly is up. I don't know the word that I'm trying to use. It's his, basically, that's how he operates. Do you know what I mean?
Modus operandi.
Modus operandi. That's exactly what I was looking for, Jay. Thank
We love
God.
words here, baby.
That's
fucking
why.
love words
That's
here.
why you're here,
Pro wrestling and diction in the same place.
my man. My man. But no, that's quite clearly what he is. He's
Not in
not-
question. That's what got him to the place where he is in this
not
business.
the nicest person in the world, and I think we all know that.
I don't think he needs to be. I don't need a hug from him
No, and he
for
doesn't
him
have
give
to
me
be
a good
100%.
product.
No, 100%. I'm not saying he has to be the nicest guy in the world.
And also, him being a cunt perpetuates other companies to be better.
Well, and now we've got a company that is better, or
About
on the
fucking
verge. On the verge, anyway.
Ring of Honor must be feeling like shit right now.
But the worst part about this is that this company has the potential. Now, this is where I wanted to segue as well. This company has the potential to buy WWE. Legit. Because that's how much money these people have. They are
You
worth more than
realistically see that happening. Is that even a conversation?
they are worth more money than WWE are.
And do you think WWE would sell to their enemy?
No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is you're dealing with somebody that physically owned the company and that's what they're worth. So the network that they're on, it's not like this isn't a WCW thing where like WCW were controlled by Turner. You know what I mean? And the network, and because of the whole conglomerate and because of the whole kind of merger and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, they have a football team.
Like, this is actually-
and a couple of quid in the bank.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe The Rock will sell them an XFL team. Who knows? Money works in mysterious ways, and nobody knows who has what in this world.
Well, the only I would agree with Jay. I think WWE want to sell to Disney. I think that's eventually what the realistic outlook for
It'll
me
be
would be.
51-49.
Yeah, 100%. And I wouldn't even go that high, Jay. To be honest, I think it'd be more of a
All you
sale.
need is 1% to keep the fucking.
Oh yeah, I
voice
think
of
it'd be
the
a sale,
company.
but I think it'd be like Jim Cornette said it correctly. He will, whatever UFC fucking sold for, he will say, "Give me that plus $1." You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
the
listen,
kind of ego we're talking.
Listen to Jim Weekly, and he's a 59-41%. I love the man, but he's 59% truth, 49% full of shit. You know?
Oh, no, absolutely. But at the same time, it is. I think that's where you're looking when it comes to a sale with WWE, because unless they really want to get into this dance now, and unless because we don't know. Let's play devil's advocate here. Let's say that Triple H hasn't been fucking just shunned of his duties of NXT or anything like that. Let's say that it's like, right, I'm bringing you up now to the main card and I want you to do this. I don't know whether that's the case. I'm not saying that it is, but imagine. Let's just say that's the case. Yeah. The product would be better. It's like, I need your kind of fucking young thinking on how we fucking combat this pissant company, as they call them. You know?
I think Vince doesn't want to own a wrestling company.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants it. I think
Made
it's
him
gonna
very
only
rich
care
though,
for
didn't
him.
it?
Yeah, and shaping it and molding it into something else has made him even richer. I mean, he went PG for 10 fucking years.
Yeah, 100%. Joe?
And even though we've left the PG era, it's still very fucking PG. Super soakers. Fucking New Day rocks. There's this deception in front of us that we're not understanding. Joe, forgive me.
Oh, no, you're grand. Look, I think WWE need to start, like I said it before, they need to start building stars again. You know, like trying to combat Punk with bringing Lesnar back.
Who never left.
Yeah, of course, who never really left. But you know, I said it before. I think the
True.
crowd soon enough are going to turn on him when they realize, oh shit, we remember how bad it was when Lesnar was around before, and so
I
they
love
have
Suplex City.
Yeah. No, look, it has its moments, but in the long run, because he's so seldom there and he does very little when he is there, people are just going to get fed up again. They have to start building stars again. They can't keep running back for the nostalgia pop, because in a few years' time they won't have one because there'll be no one legitimate enough.
I've got an idea. Sorry, Joe. Continue.
No. I was going to say just they have to start
You're
building.
right. Because
they have
Goldberg is not a nostalgia pop. He's a go away, just go away
Yeah,
forever.
exactly. Yeah. But there's plenty of talent there, and they just won't. I don't know whether they won't pull the trigger or they just don't know what to do. Like I think Big E should be a megastar.
Yeah.
He is so
Yeah.
good on the mic, in ring,
His
unbelievable.
charisma and his personality is fucking
Yeah,
gold.
and I don't know if they won't pull the trigger or they don't trust him. I don't know what it is, but how the fuck he's not absolutely massive is beyond me.
I think
And,
I would agree with that.
I think
and
they're
there's
trying
plenty
not to
more,
squander him. I think he's layaway. They know what he is, and he's over here, and they're waiting for the age of Ashley to be over.
No, but you're doing that kind of thing again, Jay, where you're like they have a plan. They don't have a plan week to week.
Like I think Cesaro's another one that's just been left to waste. And I know what you mean, Jay. They're saying, "Oh, look, we have this in the bank. We can pull them for." But what I'd be afraid of is that they do what they did with Jinder Mahal. Just all of a sudden, they're in the main event and they win the title. They're just like, hold on, what?
They done it with Jinder Mahal. They done it with Alberto as well, didn't they?
Well,
yeah,
no,
that's
different. He uses the belt to look. You can't be his 16-time world champion over a lifetime of pro wrestling unless you drop it a few times. The days of Bruno Sammartino are gone. Well, not really. Actually, I think Roman will break Bruno's reign. But they need to take belts off champs so that they can keep putting them back on them. And the Cena-Orton feud, belt-wise, I don't mean the personal feud. Apparently, they get on very well together, which to me is
Cena's the only person that can break that record, by the way, not Roman.
No, but Roman is young in his run. And they will continue. They will.
He's Hollywood. He's Hollywood next.
No, I think he's a lifer. I don't think he's Hollywood. I think he's a lifer the way The Rock never was.
I'm gonna do a bet with you the way I've done with CM Punk going to AEW.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you within 5 years that he is Hollywood.
I don't think so. He's a pro wrestler and he loves
it. So was The Rock.
Really?
I think The Rock always had his eye on.
But The Rock was pro wrestling. What
President The Rock. No, I think
always pro wrestling.
Look, we can only tell you what our heart tells you. I think Roman's a lifer. I think Roman wants it, and the only way he can get into the mix. I mean, how many titles has he held? What is he on? 3 or 4 now? I'm not sure numbers wise with Roman.
2 or 3.
Right? And the company's behind Roman. I mean,
but he's near 40, so he's not going to get that 16 championships.
Unless they keep whipping it off after a long run, after a record-breaking run. And they love breaking records with men.
Which is a good point.
And I see that with Roman. They're going to let that belt rest on his waist until he is capped a new run.
Well,
and then they're going to start trading around and whipping it off. He's a man who doesn't need a belt, but he's a man who's important with a belt right now. And he's important with the belt right now because the belt is making his run that little bit, the family, the bloodline.
So would you guys agree then that if obviously Extreme Rules, I saw some kind of sneak peeks are saying that it could be a thing where Balor comes up as the demon. Obviously Brock will have a say in that. Brock helps Demon win it in some way, shape, or form. I don't know, but the Demon will win it. Basically, have that Universal title, and then let Brock and fucking Roman go off and have a feud, which definitely doesn't need a title involved.
Yeah, but
Joe,
I'll counter that in with Brock Goldberg, which didn't need a title but had it anyway, just from the crack. Like,
yeah,
I think Brock doesn't come back unless he gets a lot of money and there's gold involved too. You know,
Brock likes belts.
Yeah.
So what do you think that? What do you think the hint of the demon thing is? Then you think that they're gonna.
I think it's going to be a triple threat. I think it's going to be Brock, Demon, Roman, and I think the Demon's going to go for is going to hit the coup de grace, go for the pin. Lesnar's going to send him flying over the ropes and take the win. I think that's what I think is going to happen.
Well, if that happens, this will exclusively be, Tony. That happens. It will exclusively be an AEW channel.
I see a belt being on the Demon. I see a belt being on
You
the
hurt
Demon
my heart
somewhere.
there, Joe.
Sorry, I'm just telling you what I think.
That's
I hope
that's
I'm
our
wrong.
trainer we're talking about.
I know. I want.
You
I think we should have
treacherous
it.
bastard. You treacherous, full of food bastard. He gets me when he's full.
I've been keeping the brain name alive, and there you are now in Sligo.
As soon as he moves past the Pales County lines,
You know what,
he's
though?
all about Brock.
Do you know what? He's probably fucking right, though.
No, I look, listen, man. It's hard to write a book in days, and it's hard to understand chapters in fucking years. There is long-term shit on the table, regardless whether we like it or not. And there's certain men who are staying because of promises made. And I feel the Trinity that I've been. Listen, I wore my heart in my sleeve about fucking 8-9 months ago, and he's lambasted me for it. I say Shinsuke's not over. I say Finn Balor's not over. And I say Cesaro's not over. And all you fucking, but what about tomorrow, cunts? See into next year. See past what the pen puts down today and understand what's coming in the future. Storytelling is bigger than what we perceive initially, simply because we are the fucking fast food generation. We don't understand that tales are told over time. All of this shit is coming. All of it is coming. It's not over.
I disagree.
You're allowed to. That's what the discussion is.
I disagree.
You're also allowed to be wrong.
Well, I'm not being wrong many times.
Millions of times.
Who's in AEW now?
Who isn't?
Who told me they wouldn't be? Who told me they wouldn't be?
Yeah, you know who isn't? The people who got them through the fucking plague and famine. We watched an AEW card the other night, and what struck me as odd when I was sitting here when it was all dark and I wasn't even sipping whiskey, I definitely was. And I was sitting there thinking, I really enjoyed that AEW card the other week. Why did I? And then I looked down the list of what I had wrote was who versus who, and I was like, oh, that's because it's a totally new card, and all of their other boys are probably wrestling somewhere on dark where I'll never see. What the fuck is a Joey Janela?
Well, look, actually, and the great thing about it is now on the main shows you don't see, that's the great thing about AEW now. You're not seeing the Joey Janellas as much. You know what I mean? You're not seeing that because they're building a
That's
roster.
some long-term storytelling.
Yeah. So
I don't know about that, Jay. I think with Joey Janela, I think he was told, you need to learn to wrestle and not
Joey used that as an
try to kill
example. He's
yourself.
terrible.
yeah, I think so.
I just
I
used
think
that as
so,
an
Joe.
Yeah,
example.
no, because
He's
I think
garbage.
he was told you have to learn to wrestle because because Darby Allin did it. Darby Allin was trying to kill himself when he first got on the scene at AEW. Now he actually wrestled.
Jim Ross
No.
actually said to him.
I
I think
my
Janela's
initial
was told the
point.
same. Stop
My
trying to kill
initial
yourself and learn to
point
wrestle.
was a year and a half ago, they had a card and a roster of maybe 3 superstars, and the rest were pulled up off the fucking out of the boondocks. That other card we seen the other night wasn't. It was a superstar card full of pro wrestlers who they didn't have a year ago. And Vince McMahon, on whatever his ethos is to his roster, it's pretty much built a great company outside of his own.
Yeah, but there was still a lot on that card, Jay, that had nothing to do with WWE. You know, Eddie
Yeah.
Kingston was never in it. Who else?
Miro versus Eddie. Yeah. One of them in the match
yeah.
was.
The Statlander Baker match, which was one of the matches of the night. Neither of them were ever in WWE.
MJF.
MJF, the Lucha Brothers, Bucks. I know we weren't big fans of it, but it got over like gangbusters. They were never.
Darby
never
Allin.
Darby Allin, yeah, you know.
Besides Sting for the last year.
Omega's never been near us, you know.
Oh well, Sting left.
Sorry,
that
Omega.
company.
Omega was down at the lower end of it. Like
Sting left that company and was like, "Wow, one of your workers tried to literally end my career." The same lad that tried to end fucking CM Punk, or same that ended Finn Balor's career with the same fucking bum move. Like what? Like, come on.
The Lies of London fucking payout. Yeah, the best job ever.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's
yeah. But let's look at the card the other night. Who was in the ring as well?
No, but the WWE didn't teach these guys how to wrestle. Like, I'll tell you one thing. I would actually.
I never said they did.
No, I'm
they
not
refined
saying
their product.
I'm not saying you did, Jay. I'm not saying you did in any way, shape, or form. You look at someone like a Daniel Bryan or a CM Punk. They are a gift to pro wrestling from what we call the new school. I remember not being a fan of those guys. Well, except for Daniel Bryan, American Dragon, I was never a fan of CM Punk because it was the new school way, and I was like, fuck that shit. I'm not learning that. I'm going to learn this. But it was just a term. You know what I mean? It was a term. They did that themselves and they made their own path in WWE. So fuck this that Vince made them. They made them. They made them.
It didn't hurt them. It didn't hurt them. I'm sure many men.
I think with Punk and Bryan, I think they made it despite what McMahon wanted to do with them.
Yeah, and especially Bryan. He had to.
Yeah, especially Bryan. He had, he forced his hand.
No, they reached for.
I think more so with Punk, Joe. I think he had to because they didn't like him. He didn't like them.
Yeah.
It was.
I think with both of them, but I'm just saying from a personal point of view, I think Bryan more so because they went with Batista and the crowd shat all over that. And his hand got forced, and he had to pick him. And because to be fair to both of them, neither of them are quote unquote Vince McMahon guys. If they turned up, you go, yeah, Vinnie Mac would love him. Neither of them were that guy.
But that was in the old days where when you moved merch, you moved up, and now with the executives paying the company instead of the fans paying the company, moving merch is secondary to the 550 bazillion quid Peacock or whoever will give you for your company.
Yeah, Vinny looks big guys with big dicks. That's basically what Vince McMahon likes.
I don't even know how.
Or else people that look. I don't know. Vince is a weirdo. He's a very strange person.
Yes, he is.
Unless you look like Shawn Michaels and you have nice blonde hair and he can kind of feather it for you. I don't know. He's the only small man that I've ever seen getting away.
Bret Hart shit into this, wouldn't you?
Sorry, you're the one that mentioned his name. I'm just mentioning the fact that he had an infatuation with Shawn Michaels, which is
and let's not try. Let's pretend to not admit that Shawn Michaels terraformed the whole business.
No, that's bollocks.
Is it?
Yeah, because the other guy that you mentioned that I won't mention was actually the one that controlled the business all the way and kept it going during fucking steroid trial, and that's a fact.
Yeah, listen. One was boring, the other lost a smile. What are you gonna do? One
was boring. Yeah. Okay. Well, two pro wrestlers here. We know what it takes to do it.
And one fan, and that's the problem with the world right now. Too many in the ring and not enough pain to see it.
So we have a fan here actually. Now that we're on it, Jay thinks that, and we're going to say it live. We're going to say it live now. We're going to call it out because you.
Bombshell tonight.
Jay thinks that Bret the Hitman Hart is overrated and boring and couldn't wrestle. There we go.
The last bit you included. Don't put your words in.
I definitely included the last bit.
Yeah, you did. Yes, you did.
Jay, in fairness, I had to do it just
to validate your own point. The other two things I said were fucking fair. Yeah, he was boring, and he was, probably my least favorite of all the Hearts.
So again, it's funny, like, when someone tells you the Ultimate Warrior was a good wrestler, and that
nobody's ever believed that the Ultimate Warrior was a good wrestler, but he was entertaining. And
you've done a good job of convincing people.
Yeah, but that's because they wanted to hear. You know why? Because they were entertained, and that's what this business is all about.
True.
Yeah, right?
No.
What is that gibberish he's speaking? I don't know. I'm 9, but I want to watch it next week.
No, you wanted to watch it once, and then once you've seen it, then that was like, oh, I'd never want to see that again.
Really?
Anyway, moving on.
Oh, really? Means much more than this, baby.
No, Baba Shango was better. Definitely, as his career.
Better worker, better wrestler.
As his career.
But you know what he wasn't? Richer.
True, but he's a lawyer.
Yeah. You can do something because you love it, or you can do something because it makes you fucking wealthy. Make your choice right now.
Me?
No, not you, the world.
Oh, that's a good question, though. You got me.
Yeah.
Hey, Vince. I'm
Why are so many men leaving your company? Because they want to be wealthy or they want to be happy?
You see,
you can choose one or the other. In this life, children, say no to drink.
It's funny.
You can be rich or you can be happy. You ain't going to do both.
People sometimes expect a full-blown row on this, and then we reel them in because it's work within the work. But Joe, I suppose for you are like you were the epitome of the
other pro wrestlers
WWE, component.
Sorry, I'm going to start that again, Ian.
You're kind of the anti WWE component on this podcast. Not anti WWE, but just you've kind of they pissed you off enough times
that I became a TNA fan.
And so, Jay is making good points to try and convince you that Vince has got a plan. What say you, my friend?
Utter bollocks. Vinnie Mac is not what he's at, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think. I think Jay, I've said it many times before. I think Jay is hugely optimistic about WWE.
I have to be.
Yeah. No, look, dude, you're talking to a TNA fan. Fucking hell.
I'm very aware of that.
I went through years of utter dog shit, just hoping it would get better.
Moose!
And it is really good now again.
But nobody will ever know. When another company has to buy your fucking champ, you know you got problems in the business, baby.
But
and also, for the record, they retired the wrong belt. That thing around his waist looked like a piece of shit. The Legends belt.
Oh, the TNA belt.
Yeah.
So it was a nice one, all right.
They retired the wrong belt.
I thought that was nice on Christian the other night.
Yeah, I like that belt. Yeah, I like it.
It's an ugly belt.
I do prefer the other one. The TNA one is nice.
It's gorgeous.
It is a nicer belt. But as I said, I think Jay's hugely optimistic. As he said, he has to be.
He's full of shit.
TNA fan. No, but as a TNA fan, like I went through years of utter dog shit, and I had to be hugely optimistic. And it eventually came good again. But
talking to a TNA fan about optimism is like talking to a homeless person about a mortgage.
Oh God!
But I just think Vinnie Mac is too long in the tooth now. He's as Ian said, he's a bully, and that
buffoon.
He's a bully, and that doesn't fly too well these days. And I think, and he's as I said, like he took over people's Twitch streams so he could make money off it. I think he's doing a lot that in the long run is going to damage WWE. I don't think you're going to have people lining up to get into the performance center like he used to.
I think there was only one time that he wasn't a bully, but that was the 11th in 1997, wasn't he? He wasn't a bully then because he got.
You know what we call a bully?
He got a broken ankle and a broken jaw, all in one moment.
Do you know what we call a bully in times of war? A general.
Ask me.
I mean, it's nice to be lovely to everybody all the time, but when shit gets important and you need to dictate, I've been a bully 1,000 times in my life. It's not something I enjoy, whether it was on the pitch, whether it was behind the bar, whether it was DJing or running clubs. If you're not willing to be an asshole, you have to expect failure. That is the succinct difference between leading an army and following behind to get shot. You can pacify all you fucking want, but when difficult decisions have to be made, you know what you gotta be? A bully.
Oh no, 100%. You're 100% correct.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, you're 100% correct because I've done the same. Joe has played rugby and all that, but I don't see how that's
not a real sport.
It doesn't lend itself to what we're talking about now with Vince in the modern day, because he's not actually leading anything. He's leading his own company into just the lack of interest.
Did you not enjoy SummerSlam?
It was good. Some of it was good.
Very good. Yeah.
It was,
It was
yeah,
very
but
good.
it wasn't better than what I saw last night. It wasn't pro wrestling. It's WWE wrestling is WWE wrestling. Like, if you look at it
Burger
now,
King and McDonald's.
let me say one thing, okay? It's very, very simple, right? WWE wrestling is a case now where they've even said it. They're not going to bring any independent stars in anymore. They're going to go and pick out the people that they want to fit the WWE mold. So we're
Really?
going back to what WWE. Yeah, that's what they said. So the whole NXT UK thing and all's off now. They're going to bring in fucking superstars. Because don't forget, John Laurinaitis is back in the company as well. Literally a lad who has no clue about wrestling. And yet he fucking wrestled in Japan. Like, this lad is actually a goon, an out and out goon. Like, John Laurinaitis.
He's another yes man. That's
he's a goon. I mean, he was shite with the dudes. They were shite.
He's only famous because of who his brother is.
Exactly. And I mean, I'd say his brother died ashamed being a fucking. But do you know what? At least his brother had a bit of fucking stuff about him, though. You never heard that about Animal.
No, he's an absolute decent human.
Yeah, but this guy is just an out and out piece of shit.
He's a yes man. He's Smithers. You know what? Laurinaitis.
But let me continue. Let me continue first, because this is what Vince creates. He creates these yes men, like Pritchard and all these. He creates them. It's like I've seen it. We've all been in those jobs where you have that one guy that goes, "You be my guy, you put my eyes and ears," and blah blah blah. You can either choose to go with it or you can choose to not. A lot of them do. Same with Pritchard.
I lost my last job because I told a millionaire to go fuck herself.
Yeah, Pritchard's the same. Pritchard is a piece of shit. You know what I mean? You could not trust a Pritchard story in any way, shape, or form. I don't believe anyway. Because of enough people that have been around the business that tell you, yeah, that didn't happen. You know?
No, he's a compulsive liar.
Yeah, as much as I love his stories, they're great. And I wasn't there. But you know, I know Cornette's a bit of a moany bastard, but like, he's not the only person that will tell you, you heard it from Bruce Pritchard. Nah, it's not true. And he'll tell you it's true. And it's the same with Eric Bischoff. I love Bischoff. Bischoff has a very, very special thing of not recollecting something when it mattered. Well, I don't recollect that. And you're like, oh, really?
Bang a Watergate scandal off Bischoff.
Yeah, you know exactly what you did, motherfucker. But I like, it's the same thing. Like, this whole idea of, you know, Vince being like long-term booking. Vince literally isn't a booker. We know that. Vince is a matchmaker. You know, he makes stars. That's what he said. He makes stars.
Well, he's not running a wrestling company. He said that. He runs an entertainment company. I know he uses wrestlers to do it, but it's chalk and cheese.
But he uses our business to make his money. So therefore, that's where I take offense.
Yeah, but he was the only show in town, and whether we like it or not, what he has done over the most important thing globally for pro wrestling over the last 5 years has been how many people he has fucking fired. Do you know where those seeds go?
Do you know what he's done for? Do you know what he's done for wrestling?
Other beds.
Do you know what he's done for pro wrestling?
What has he done for pro wrestling?
Ruined it.
Oh, really?
Yes. Ask any fucking pro wrestler. You ask a Magnum TA or a fucking Ricky Morton or all your favorites, Bobby Fulton. Did Vince McMahon do great for pro wrestling? Do you honestly think that their answer is going to be,
it was great? People were my favorites. The Ultimate Warrior is my favorite. Secondly,
exactly. So Vince has done great for you because you're a WWE fan. You're not a pro wrestling fan. There's a difference.
Are we not still sitting here and talking about what he has done for the business?
What he's done for the business is fucking literally garnered all parts of it and made it his own. Therefore, in my opinion, if you want my honest answer, is he's ruined it. Hence why now we have someone coming in going, okay, pro wrestling's back.
Do you understand the nature of a comeback? You cannot come back until it has gone away. And it has gone away long enough. That PG era and the last 2 years of pro wrestling we have watched. Now,
well, Vince
half of the
hemorrhaged
people
pro
know.
wrestling into his veins. He done what his dad asked him not to do.
It is the honeybee dropping pollen and pollinating shit everywhere to the point where flowers can grow. He has globalized it. This is a fact. He has standardized it. This is a fact.
Globalized what? Sports entertainment.
Yes.
Yeah, and guess what? If that's what you like, that's absolutely fine.
Do you think pre-Vince the territories would have survived past 1987?
It's a stupid question. Yes, they would have.
Is it? It's an actual question. Answer it.
Okay, yeah, they would have. Of course they would have. It would it have been to this level that we're looking at now? No, absolutely not. But it still would have been a viable business. Of course it would.
Now, shit has to die and become almost obsolete before it can bud and regrow. The amount of pro wrestlers that have left that company that are going elsewhere and bringing their previous name and their weight and their gravitas into new companies is only because one place has what is that word?
Because
Joe? I
they
never say it right. A diaspora.
Diaspora.
Joe, I need to bring you in on this one.
I can never say that word.
I need to bring you in on this here now before Jay gets away.
Please do. I've already gone off on one. The diaspora of pro wrestling via WWE.
That doesn't mean that what they did was great and good.
It doesn't need to be for it to make the bigger picture more full, to create a situation in industry. Even now in Dublin, we can go to see a pro wrestling show if we want that has the smack of professionality.
You could have done that in the 80s. Didn't exist. You could have done that before.
Did you see many pro wrestling shows in Dublin before people came home from being in America that had this level of quality, content, and competency? No. And that's happening all around the world. And it's fucking glorious. But it's a bigger picture and it's probably a narrow view. So give me a second. Joe, you're tagged in.
Where do I go from that? But no, I know where
you're coming from.
No, I know where you're coming from, Jay, where you're saying that while he did destroy the territories, as we know, he made wrestling massive. You know, he really did, and brought it into the mainstream.
And into me house.
Yeah, exactly. Where it wouldn't have been without him. Let's be honest about that. It wouldn't have been without him.
He's the Elvis of pro wrestling.
Pardon?
He's the Elvis of pro wrestling.
I think Jay fancies Vince McMahon.
I don't. I fancy pro wrestling because I enjoy it. Shoot.
You brought Elvis into it though. I was like, oh shit, that's deep. I know how much you love that man.
Yeah, he is though. Who else did it? Who else owned it? Forgive me.
Yeah. No, you're right, Jay. He made it global, made it massive. But I also see Ian and the old school guys' points of how he ruined professional wrestling. You know, he turned it into sports entertainment, and he got a bit nonsensy for a long, long time. Now AEW, as you said, Jay, I think with AEW coming in strong, he has to change his ways and cop onto himself a bit. And I think as I said it earlier, I think if he drops the ball with Balor, he could have a mass exodus that he doesn't want to see happening. And look, we'll see what happens. There's only one way to do it. But you were talking about the WWE diaspora.
First of all, me and you are. That term is now coined on the Fort Pubman, and it is our thing now.
Right. The WWE diaspora.
Am I wrong?
No, I know where you're coming from with that as well. Like where, you know, as you said, that in Ireland you can go to, seriously professional outfits and watch and
watch the rub off the rub.
Yeah, so serious global superstars and see some serious names, and a lot of them were at one stage grace the halls of WWE, and in that way it's good. And I know what you're talking about when they release these guys, they take their name and their fame and they go off and they help lift other places, because look at TNA did it for years, but anyone that was released by WWE, they went,
So
"Yoink, get in here." Yeah, exactly. Get in here and we'll throw you on TV. Fucking great. And a lot of them failed miserably. You know what I mean? So some of them, like Christian Cage, because he's in the mind now because he's kicking ass again. He was unbelievable when he first went there. Booker T was another one that was brilliant when he went there. But there were plenty of them that failed too. Like those two just spring to mind because they were unbelievable when they were there.
yeah, there was
So
plenty.
they-
The whole
they're-
Legends thing, the whole Legends building category, it validated the rest of the company.
Yeah, and then as you said that a year ago you were looking at AEW pay-per-views and going, who's that? And who's that? And who's that? And who's that?
What's
And
this?
who's that? Like, you're able to pick out maybe 2 or 3 names that you knew. Whereas now, as you said, you go through it and you go, oh yeah, that should be good. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that should be good too. That pairing should be good. And but even though half of them on it have never graced the halls of WWE, AEW have helped build them up. And that's what I think that's where WWE are falling down at the minute. They're just not making new stars, and they're just relying on nostalgia pops. And then it's a
I
nostalgia
don't
pop.
disagree.
When Goldberg comes in and he's straight into the
hate
title
him.
picture, and you're
I
like,
hate him.
what the
Me
fuck?
too.
You've so much talent there that you could just springboard into that position. Why are you wasting your time with this lad and spending 10 times as much money on him as you would bringing a new person into the fold? I think it's lunatic. Like, the only place they're doing those things right, in my opinion, is in the women's division. Because they're not having those big nostalgia pops there.
Until
They're
Thunder
building.
Rosa gets her pop, we'll have no
Yeah, no.
interest.
I'm talking about WWE now.
Oh,
Their women's division, like they're all women they've brought up and moved up themselves. They made their own stars. Whereas in the men's division, it's just, they're bringing the other crowd are bringing in CM Punk. What do we do? Bring in Brock Lesnar instead of.
who never
Can you-
left?
Well, can you imagine, like, if they did, like, take a chance on a Big E or Cesaro, the guys that people want to see do well? You know what I mean?
They're coming.
I think the
They're
attitude
coming.
of people would change
They're
dramatically.
coming. I think those things are coming.
But you've been saying that though, Jay, that they're coming. These lads are coming. You seem to have more faith in what Vince is doing than what Vince has faith in what he's doing.
That's what he's always done.
That's not what he's always done. He fucking ad-libs it. It's on the
Yeah, 'cause-
fly.
Because Jay, I think in the Attitude Era, because WCW were kicking so much ass, I think what happened a lot with the Attitude Era was that, sorry, excuse me. I think what happened a lot with the Attitude Era was, guys like Austin, The Rock, and that just
Yeah,
had
too many
to
people.
be propelled because they were just too good, and he couldn't say no to them. Whereas over the past 20 years, he's had no real competition, and he has said no to lots of really good wrestlers.
Joe, look at the people that keep a job in WWE, yeah? The ass kissers, the yes men, as in like the workers in the ring, the Mizes, the Sheamuses. Do you know what I mean? The guys that, can I carry your bag, sir?
But they're not
That's
bad wrestlers.
bollocks.
though, either,
Sheamus is
you
a
know?
decent wrestler, and so is the Miz.
Listen,
Put their
what
years in.
what I'm
Every
saying
year,
is, what I'm
every
saying,
night.
no,
Well,
Jay, what
do
you're
what
getting,
you said first.
yeah, what I'm getting is
Ass
the ass
kissers.
kickers. Yeah,
Yes. You don't have to
They
reach for
do.
the brass ring. You have to lick it.
yeah,
This is a business, son.
yeah. And guess what? The people that don't have to kiss that brass ring are fucking off now, and more people are going to. Because
And
they
let
don't
them.
really want
Let
to
them.
do it.
We don't need them to be confined to a company they want to work in. First of all, if there's a better place for you to work with better working conditions, more happiness, more wages, and more fucking coverage, fucking go. That's your choice. But we haven't always had a choice. Now we have a choice.
Yeah.
2,
Right.
I'm not going to howl one company up to the light of no competition simply because it has had no competition. This is the first time in 15 years. It's actually, Jesus, it's 20 years since WCW. And we used to call it AEWCW.
And by the way, Miz is a better worker than Sheamus. Sorry. Didn't mean to put them
They're
in the
both
same.
great wrestlers. It's not a dick measuring
No,
competition
no,
at the
no,
urinal
no.
wall.
I wouldn't say they're about great wrestlers.
We ain't talking small packages now, son.
If you're going to tell me that Sheamus is a great wrestler and Bret Hart isn't, that's when we end this conversation.
Do you know what? Do you know the difference between them? I enjoyed
One has red
Sheamus's
hair.
last No, I enjoyed Sheamus's last match. I didn't enjoy Brett's. That's the difference between them.
Yeah. The difference with Sheamus is he's not a nice human being. So
I couldn't
as
give a
we
fuck.
said,
I don't need him to cuddle me to sleep.
then
All
again,
I
he's
need
from
him to be is a
Cabra,
professional
though.
wrestler.
He's from Cabra, so that makes sense.
Everything's from Cabra. Sooner or later, the whole world comes down to one point. Cabra. But no,
Bollocks.
look, we you know, we're arguing differentials and coming.
No,
in
we're,
from
we're
different
obviously teasing. We're messing here.
perspectives.
We're having fun. For anyone listening here, we're actually having fun within our fun here. We are having fun. I know
This is
Sheamus as a person. In fairness, we had our issues.
Joey's saying sorry.
No, we had our issues, but at the same time, there's a couple of situations in recent.
Me and Joe haven't had issues with.
No, but I know, and the reason I'm saying this, just for anyone asking.
And also, my son is ginger. I have no issue with ginger people. I
Well,
am
I
a
do.
ginger.
You know
I
what?
am a
I love
ginger.
your son because I love you.
See that? That's what happens when a ginger goes out into the sun. Brass straps.
I know. For all our audio listeners right now, Jay's just got like some kind of.
I didn't
brass
get
strap
the
shit
shit out.
going on now.
You'll get that on Johnny fans.
But no, the point I'm listen, I'm teasing. No, but like someone like Shane.
You're backpedaling.
I'm not actually. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna stand by what I say. I don't think Sheamus is a nice human being. I've met him. I know the guy.
He doesn't.
I know, and I know what he's about. He's a fucking ass kisser, and lots of these guys are ass kissers, and that's why they have jobs that go on. And I'm saying this on my own fucking show now, and I'm willing to put myself in the spot. That doesn't mean
tonight.
no, but that doesn't mean that I have a problem with Sheamus personally. But I know that he's an ass kisser, and I know personally, without mentioning names, and Jay and Joe, you know exactly who I'm talking about. There are people that he's basically shunned, and fucking as recently as 6 months ago, and just went, oh yeah, I'm talking to you. So I have no respect for someone like that. You know what I mean? Yes, he's improved. He's good, but there's a
Very
reason.
good.
But what I'm saying to you is there's a reason that certain type of characters keep their jobs in WWE and don't. There's a certain...
Yeah, polishing toffee pennies.
Exactly. Vince likes people that kiss ass. Yeah, they don't. Vince doesn't like a CM Punk who's going to say, no, fuck you. I don't want to do that. Fuck you. Vince doesn't like these people. And you know what? They're the people I like. Real people. Not 6'4" fucking idiots that just have no soul. And the people that are there in AEW now, all power to them.
Are you sure that
For
was
having backbone. You what?
Are you sure that was Ravina?
It's fucking truth.
I'm not even getting in the way of that. That was a fucking magnificent rant. I'm not gonna lie. It's rare I step back, sit down, keep my mouth shut, and go, "Wow, okay, let this fella run."
Truth is truth, man. You know what I mean? And
I'm gonna bump that fist.
Yeah,
Ritual fist bump.
There's certain things that I get hot about when I know certain things within this business, like whether it be fucking on a small scale here in Dublin or whether it be on a fucking large scale in WWE. And when people disrespect my friends, you know, I'm not going to sit here on my own show and go, oh, that guy's a great guy, or that, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's the only reason. That's where that came from.
Sitting, yapping, and talking in the Dynamo Palace, people.
Absolutely.
And you better respect the honesty that you're being offered because it is fucking glorious.
And I'm sure Joe would rather me be like this than not, wouldn't you, Joe?
Joe, I have to go for a quick piss. You better cover me.
No, me and Joe are actually going to make the show better now that you go.
Make sure he doesn't go back to war with the British because I've got my rifle ready. Just, Joe, when I come back, make sure it's all together.
No, Joe, what we are going to do, Joe, is, in fairness, one thing that we said very, very early on was that we saw the potential in AEW if they got it right. It was all about, you know, them getting components and they were bringing guys back. But then we had that conversation recently that a lot of people thought he's just hemorrhaging money and giving everybody big contracts and doing exactly what, you know, Ted Turner done. It's the complete opposite. He's giving people shot deals, right?
Yeah, and I think maybe initially get the, to stop the likes of Omega going to WWE. He may have
Sure.
been throwing out big, might
Yeah,
have been throwing out big money then. But
Jericho probably would have had a big contract.
Jericho would have been another one.
Jim
yeah,
Ross obviously was a usual.
I'd say initially that some of the bigger names that were in the door initially probably got some serious cash, but we said it before, they're a viable option now. They don't need these guys. Their roster is massive. You know what I mean? Like it's chock a block full of stars now. They don't need to go chasing, and like
it's actually too big now, isn't it?
I don't think it's too big.
No, but I mean, what I mean is it's too big to the sense that not every person getting released from WWE now will get a contract.
Absolutely not. No way. And they'll pick and choose who they want. But as I said, like if someone goes to Impact, they know they have the potential to work with guys in AEW and stuff like that. You know,
Isn't that genius? Isn't that genius?
That
what Tony Khan
crossover
has done.
Like, look, the Good Brothers were on that pay-per-view.
Yeah,
they're on Impact. They're Impact wrestlers.
They're Impact.
You know what I mean? So,
you know what, Joe? You said this as well. That's when we had this conversation. I think it was off air, like, and you had mentioned to me, like, if you think about it, the way Tony Khan has actually spread this now, and obviously had with the likes of Don Callis and opening that relationship up, and opening up a relationship with New Japan, it's genius because you spread the wealth. So you might have a roster that looks stacked, but you spread it across so many different.
The word is diaspora. Joe, how do you say it?
You were right, Jay. You got it right.
Yeah, you're always right when it comes to words. We never ever do.
I'm not. I really haven't. Joe fixed me on that word about 15 minutes.
Well,
ago.
you were
both.
Call it
diaspora.
You two men, I certainly wouldn't be doubting when it comes to that. So,
apropos, did I use it right?
Yes, you did.
No, you didn't use it right. You said it right. Though.
Fuck off, Joe.
Joe, just let him think you did, will you?
Boom, idiom, apropos. Boom.
What you should have said. What you should have said was, Ian, what you're saying is 100% correct, and this would be very apropos.
I don't.
And then lead into the next sentence.
How it works in that sentence.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'll work.
But as you said, when you were talking about shot deals there, Ian, as well. You know, you look at them. You look at the trials of Jericho there. You know what I mean? Where these guys come in for one, just one night. You know, you look at your Nick Gage. You look at Juventud. Even you go back even further. Remember, Jeff Cobb came in for 1 or 2 nights when he came in as an enforcer and battered. I think it was Moxley. He went in and he battered. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's a bad thing, as you said, where they get these shot deals and stuff like that. But as I said, they have an open working relationship with New Japan now. So it's look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Long may it continue. And I hope it goes on for years.
I think Tony Khan is actually a genius.
He's hit on something.
I wouldn't have said this a few months ago. I think Tony Khan.
You definitely wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. I know.
Don't segue back to past episodes for this comment.
But I would no. To be honest with you, I think what he's tried to do. Like, he quite clearly loves pro wrestling, and you can see
he's learning on his feet.
Well, when he talks to people, like when I see someone like a CM Punk or Daniel Bryan going, I just had to work for this guy because he loves pro wrestling. You know what I mean? I'm going, okay, I'm in. You know what I mean? I'm all in on that. No pun intended, but I'm all in on that.
Mind if I throw a bit on top of that now, Ian?
Please.
With Tony Khan as well, I think initially he was, as you said, he's a big fan of pro wrestling. He loves pro wrestling. I think he was in awe a lot of the time. So when guys came,
he still is when you see him beside CM Punk.
Yeah, but I think when guys used to come to him and say, "Look, I want to do this," he said yes. He was afraid to say no to them nearly. Whereas the thing now, he's grown into the position of where he is, and he's not afraid. Like, he dropped that broken Matt Hardy gimmick like that. He just went, "Nah, don't like it, gone." And
he's listening
so
to
I think, yeah, pardon.
He's listening to Jim Cornette. He's listening.
Well, maybe, but I think he's grown into the position. He realizes his value within it, and he's not afraid to go, nah, don't like it, not happening. And he's not afraid to turn around to some of the bigger names and go, you're not doing that, you're doing this instead. And I of course I'm only guessing. I don't know what the backstage machinations are, but that's what I think is happening. He's grown into his position, and he's not afraid to tell people to stuff it and go, nah, that's not happening tonight. Or
I actually 100% agree with you, Joe. I think that's exactly what it boils down to, is that he's grown into the role. He knew he needed a certain element of people to kind of help him get to where he needs to be. But now he's in the case where he's like, well, no, sorry, can't really do anything for you. But what I will do is I'll fucking put you in touch with Don Callis, and if you want to get in contact with him, we'll do something there. You know what I mean? So it is very. I heard on their little kind of they done those little kind of aftermath kind of press conferences that they do. Don't know whether you guys have seen any of them, but for me, I thought they were pretty cool. And they were kind of saying, is this kind of like up to the stage of like the outsiders appearing on WCW, like after tonight? And CM Punk said, well, to be honest with you, I think it's bigger because it's modern. You know, that was then. You know what I mean? That was then. Now you've got Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson coming on this show. This is bigger for us. And to be fair, he's not wrong. You know?
Yeah, I think the needle has been firmly moved at this stage.
Now it's not competition. It used to be not competition.
Yeah, I
used to
think
be an NXT rivalry. Yeah. Now it's main stage rivalry.
Yeah. I think the needle's been firmly moved. They're genuine competition, and I think WWE, like I think Ian, you said that they called them a pissant company. I think they're
Triple H said that.
I think in private they're looking over their shoulder, and I think they're getting that trickle of sweat down the spine is happening to them now, because they are a serious contender now.
Yeah, but look, Triple H will be looking to see if there's any kind of females
jobs
in the Khan family.
That he can marry.
Like, yeah. Anybody who can. No, all joking aside, and that is a joke. Like with Triple H, that's the guy I feel sorry most for.
God, he poured his guts into that NXT.
Yeah, I really do.
He made a viable third product, which was better than the top two. And Joe said something earlier on, which I've been saying for a long time. When Vince didn't create it, he shits all over it.
But like even H done that thing where he brought like the In Your House kind of pay-per-views back, you know, like where they'd have the whole set and all back, and it was great, you know, like, and just
it was fun down there.
Yeah. And it's just like now, it's like you like I'd wonder how Triple H is feeling looking at that. I'd say there's a part of H going, I'd love to be a part of that right now.
I think he has to be thinking, if you're going to shit and walk all over me, can I get a passport and move to England so I can look after NXT UK? Because they're still wrestling over there.
Yeah.
You've just shit all over everything I've done for the last year.
He's literally shit all over everything H has done.
Yeah.
I want to go back on what Ian was talking about earlier, the John Laurinaitis thing, that they're going out and they're just looking for athletes again, and they're not bringing in indies.
Yeah,
I think
that's the thing.
Yeah, I think that is utter madness. You look at the big success stories out of the Performance Center; they're all former indie guys. You know what I mean? Well, not all of them, but the vast majority. They haven't built too many of their own stars. They have built quite a few in the women's division. I said that they're doing the right thing in the women's division, building up superstars. But I think on the male side of things, to go back to that, bringing in athletes that have no love for wrestling, they're coming in to make money, and to, you know, some of them will be coming in because they had to retire from whatever sport they played through injury, or just that they got too old to play it. And then they're seeing this as a way of prolonging their careers and making a few quid. And like, as I said, it's seldom, very seldom works. You know, there's not too many that they built up from that. Most of the success stories, like you look at your Kevin Owens, your Sami Zayns, your Samoa Joes, even, like they all came from wrestling, like, you know.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned those two names. They're two names, and God forgive me for even fucking forgetting this. Kevin Owens, like, there's a guy right now that would be prospering in an AEW and probably counting down the days until his contract ends so he can go somewhere like that, right?
No, I mean, more than likely, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. He's phenomenal. Like, he's
No, but
absolutely
you
phenomenal.
think he'd rather do what he's doing there and be like just a little bit of a joke in between segments, or do you think you'd rather go there and be like, right, I'm a viable contender? Because the great thing about now AEW is, if you think about it, let's look at AEW, right? Obviously, the champ is Kenny Omega. Yeah, you've got Cody Rhodes, you've got Jericho. In fairness, they're probably going to step off a bit. So let's look at Cody Rhodes,
MJF,
Punk,
MJF,
Darby Allin,
Miro,
yeah, Bryan Danielson,
Moxley,
Adam Cole. Like,
yeah.
it's literally
and,
like,
and as I said, you're looking at the Japanese guys coming in now as well. Like
imagine Okada comes in.
He'll arrive at some stage.
No, he will. I know
He'll arrive at some stage, and he'll get a massive. He'll get a huge pop when he turns up too.
It's
Absolutely
an amazing
massive.
thing. You know what? It's an amazing thing. Pro wrestling should be for everybody, you know? And this whole thing of like WWE having a thing,
Man,
literally they could have kept everybody if they had that open relationship with other companies.
But like, I remember not there a while ago when AEW were just kind of starting. I think they just announced that they were going to become a thing, and WWE were panicked and they were offering people that weren't on TV like double their money to sit at home. And because I saw an interview with Rhino, and a big personal favorite of mine is, as you know, Ian. I'm not sure if you know that, Jake.
I do.
But he's a huge
best spear
favorite
in the
of mine.
business.
Pardon?
Best spear in the business.
Oh, by a
Of
million
all
miles.
time. Of all time.
Yeah, unbelievable. But he's a personal favorite. I absolutely love him. He'd be close to a Rushmore for me. That's how much I love him. But he was in an interview after being released by WWE, and he talked about that. He said, I was offered double what my salary just to sit at home, and he didn't take it, and he decided, and he went back to Impact, where he had great success before. And he said to himself, he goes, I enjoy being on the road. I like being around these young wrestlers and trying to help them and help build them up.
A lifer.
And like yeah, I was about to say that, Jay,
Exactly.
you always talk about these lifers, and you know he's one of them. Like, but that happened with a lot of them. There's quite a few of them said, nah, and then others did take it. They went, fuck yeah, double my money to sit my arse. Happy days, because obviously they didn't know if AEW was going to take off. You know, they hadn't a clue. Like, so a lot of them did take it, but it's great to hear guys like him saying, yeah, that sounds good, but I'd rather go out and actually wrestle. Like, so you know, like WWE at one stage, even as I said, even before AEW were a proper rival, which they definitely are now, they were still somewhat panicked because they were offering people big money to sit on their arse, and you don't do that unless you're kind of like, oh shit, we need to hold on.
Sabu.
Yeah.
Free money?
Give
me free money.
Yeah.
Well,
we need to hold on to as many assets as we can. Like,
why do you think someone like Triple H would actually take his time out to call AEW pissant company when they're doing the Hall of Fame thing? You know, he done that with Billy Gunn. Like,
he had to.
Well, no, I'm not saying he's wrong to do that, Jay. I'm just saying that shows you that obviously it was like, oh, you son of a bitches, you're here, you know. But I would say Triple H, when he's looking at that roster, as you always say, Jay, roster. If he's looking at that roster, right, and going, what could I do for them? You'll have CM Punk going, you motherfucker, you're not coming anywhere near this. We're going to get in a legitimate fight now. Fuck you. And this will be the one fight I win.
No, I think that's the only way. I think that's the only way Triple H could ever get involved in AEW is if CM Punk was given the option to have a legit shoot fight with him. I think it's the only way. He'd be like, Tony, if you want to bring him in, you have to let me fight him, or else.
Let's make it real because I can actually beat him. No doubt.
Just pure rage would get him through the fight.
Just rage would kill him. Yeah. And poor H would be like, what? It wasn't me. It was Vince. It wasn't my fault. Fuck me, man. I didn't do it.
I made his grandchildren. Don't hold this against me.
No, I didn't do it. What are you doing? You're choosing the wrong option here.
No, I think. Look, ultimately, we say this repeatedly. The fans get to win.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it lovely that there's another hat in the ring?
And this is a great way to end the show, Jay. You're 100% right. Like, the fans really win now, don't they?
Yeah. Wrestling is what we love. And isn't it beautiful that we have options? Options are life. What you choose to do with your viewing eyes, do what you fucking want.
Exactly.
Appoint how you will. But two companies, man, and they're going to war. And it's fucking glorious. That is the first time I sat down. I mean, I've wasted a lot of time in AEW because I love you men and I love talking to you. But that's the first time I felt like I didn't waste my time watching it.
I can understand that.
It was something else, that pay-per-view, wasn't it? It really was. Like,
it's the pay-per-view of the year.
Well,
out of the bat. Like,
I'm gonna make a statement here now, and I'm gonna make a bold statement here, and this is for me personally.
It always is, baby.
I believe that is the best show that I've watched in the last 20 years. I can't remember a show that I've enjoyed that much. Now, 20 could be, I'm trying to think of what was 20 years ago. Someone said to me, I'm 37 years old. Like, so, I mean.
the first All In was pretty good.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it was. But like, this is what I'm saying was like the first,
I'm with you. The first All In, when it was not AEW, is probably one of my favorite wrestling shows.
No, I think this one for me is my favorite show in the last, I won't say 20 years because I'm thinking now the show's creeping up now that I remember. Because I have a weird kind of remembrance for certain shows and dates and stuff.
No,
like
it was the most recent exciting show you've watched in an awful long time.
Within the last 10 years, within the last decade for sure. It was my favorite show from top to bottom. And I think that's where I would leave my hat at.
I think the only thing I wasn't crazy about on that show was the QT Marshall Paul White, but that did its purpose of being the cooler.
It made sense,
and it did fill that slot perfectly.
Well, yeah, listen, every so often you feel I need to go grab some popcorn and take a piss, and when Paul White gets into the ring, perfect time.
That's exactly what that was. You're right, Jay. Absolutely, yeah. Before you settled in for the main event, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you come down from CM Punk with Darby Allin? Like, he's your hometown hero, and then you're going into the main event. So
and don't forget, Sting was there too.
Yes. So the
star power.
Can I call you Dad? You ever call me that, I'll fucking kill you.
The booking on that was absolutely perfect.
Can I have your mask?
No,
it was a great show from top to bottom. It was. And it's the complete 100% opposite of that fucking Stadium Stampede, whatever that shit was that we watched. The Khan is ironing out so much of his bullshit in such a short time. I have to doff the cap and say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for some of the things I've said. For a man learning and growing on his legs, he has done so much in so little. It's silly, and it makes me feel bad for how I felt about his show. He's got something going forward.
I think we're all guilty of that, Jay. The three of us have been pretty harsh with AEW over the past couple of years, but they're like for the past few months now, they've really been knocking it out of the park. They really have.
None more
I-
so
I-
than me too. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you're right, Jay. There was a lot of hokey stuff that was going on. The Stadium Stampede. I think of that. What was that match Jericho had with Orange Cassidy?
Fucking mimosa shit.
The most exact, this kind of crap was going on. But I think that's when I think Khan was still heavily influenced by mad shit, mad
His
ideas.
executive producers,
Yeah,
one of
but I
which
think
wasn't even on that card. We haven't spoke about somebody all night, man. I mean, there was no place for Cody there. I love
He's
him
injured.
sitting in the
He's
back.
injured.
He is, but I love him sitting at the back looking at all this going, yes, yes.
Because that's where the real influence is
yes."
coming from. That's where Cody has got someone like Kanzir going. That's what we need. That's our
Yeah, no,
wrestling.
but there's also a lot of really good old heads there too that I think are finally getting through to a lot of the younger wrestlers. I like Callis. Since Callis has come in, AEW has changed quite a lot.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here, lads. I think he's had a huge influence on what's
When
going on.
I said
already.
earlier that he's the modern day Bobby the Brain Heenan, like that's the ultimate tribute that I could pay him as being a manager. But at the same time, I'm not wrong. Like I'm not saying he's at the level of Bobby because nobody will ever be at the level of Bobby.
There's things,
Well,
that are,
if you look at sorry, Jay, go ahead.
there's things that are only after dawning on me after watching that card as well. We didn't see three things. We didn't see Jake the Snake Roberts. We didn't see Aaron Anderson, and we didn't see Tully Blanchard.
They let the young lads do it, and young women.
But like again, every time we genuflect and retroflect on what I've watched, I mean, I'm gonna think different things about that card in a month's time that are only gonna sit with me from their progressive momentum. And even the fact that I've just realised I didn't see any of those boys on that card tonight.
Yeah, but none of their. But the other side of that, Jay, is that none of their wrestlers were involved either.
Yeah,
FTR
that's all
weren't
YouTube
there.
shit now.
Yeah, FTR weren't there. Lance Archer wasn't there, and Cody wasn't there.
Yeah, and that's all
there.
YouTube shit now, I guess. I mean, going forward, they bought a new upper tier. They bought a new top structure. It's exciting.
Very much so.
I think that's how we end the show tonight, to be honest with you. I love seeing men smile when they think of professional wrestling. Listen, the three of us together is always going to be trouble. We're always going to disagree with certain things.
That's because they're always wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, because Jay is always wrong, as he just admitted there. And
Yes, he right.
But no, I think that's the best way of ending the show tonight, because to be honest with you, pro wrestling is back, motherfuckers. Yeah, pro wrestling is back,
thing?
baby.
New team? Is that a new team? Unless you're talking sports entertainment.
I don't deal in that
Anymore.
I don't deal in that fucking.
I don't deal in that anymore.
I don't deal in that Eastern money.
Whoa. You know what else
Guys.
is back?
Jazzo Pro, a Jazzo Pro. You got a bit of boob like a Jazzo Pro. I know it's not the word, not the song we wanted, but that's all I had.
I wish everything could be Akeem. Sorry, where were we? Forgive me, segue.
We're closing the show.
I'll close your show.
We're closing the show.
What does that even mean?
It means nothing, Jay. It means nothing.
It means what you gonna do when the largest arms in the world.
What you gonna do, Jay Kennedy, when the largest arms in the world run down on you?
This has been Dynamo Dozen. I've been your host. This has been Joe Kennedy. And until next week.
That's a different person.